Conservation meeting for Tuesday, October 17th, 2023, at 6:30 PM at the McDonald Brown Conference Room is now open. And I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for September 19th.
So move.
Second?
Do I hear a second?
Steve, are you in? You gotta get Steve in here.
Steve, can you hear us?
He can't. Can't hear you, Steve. Okay. Okay. Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us now, Steve?
No.
Well,
I'll second
a
it.
second, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So we move on to the next one.
Maybe he can hear us.
He said he couldn't.
Oh, can't.
All right, I think we're.
Is he in?
Yep, I think it's.
So first up is 15 Maple Street, notice of intent.
Yep.
Guys, yeah.
Ed Jacobs, PMP. I'm here with Mark Rukas, the applicant and owner of the property. This is our second time here. If you guys remember this job, it's 15 Maple Street, all the way down the end on the right. Mark proposes to do a contractor's yard and a recycling process plant. And we went through all of this before, and then you guys sent it out to peer review. Pat Brennan took a look at it, sent out a comment letter. We addressed all those comments, and then he sent one more email, just had a couple of more things that were of concern. We changed those as well, and then I believe he sent out a letter saying that he had no more issues and that he was all set with the plan
Yes.
and the design. So,
What were the comments, anything?
Some
Changes.
test pits and.
yeah, he wanted a groundwater mounding. So his last comments were, there was a note on sheet 7 that specified a 2-foot wide crushed stone trench, and it had to be changed to a 3-foot wide on the detail, so we did that. We had an invert in basin 2A that didn't match the detail, we fixed that. He didn't get any groundwater mounding analysis for the basin, so we sent that, and he was okay with the calculations for that. And there's a basin back here that's within 50 feet of the wetlands, so we'd have to ask for a waiver on that, but he also suggested that what he's seen done in the past is put an impervious barrier around this edge of it that's closest to the wetlands, so we put that on the plan as well.
In order for it
Did
to,
that down on Lincoln.
in order for it to use it.
Yes,
Right in
Yeah.
that area.
Yeah.
Not to change it,
not to move it, just
just to be able
to
to use
put
it.
that barrier in there, so none of the
Yeah.
stormwater will leach out into the.
And all that's gonna be in that 50 foot is just that water area there.
Yes, yeah, let me show you on the other plan. This is the materials.
What do you use for an impervious barrier?
The same that they use for the,
Polyurethane?
yeah, the same they use for the septic systems. That poly barrier is like 3 feet high, comes in rolls.
And that, well, I imagine it lasts for 100 years.
Yeah, it's really thick, yeah. Here we go. so it's this little basin right here. So the only thing in it is that little edge right there. And we're gonna have poly barrier come around like this and up the other side. Shows in the detail. And that was basically it. We gave them the groundwater mounding analysis for this.
Yeah.
We fixed the couple of inverts that weren't right on the plan, that didn't match the detail. And
And so that black line is the fencing?
yeah, this is gonna be a concrete block wall all the way around the site.
I was noticing,
And that's basically for NHESP for the turtles.
that's what I was just noticing, the two little turtle
Yep.
spots down there are supposed to go.
Yeah, 3 feet.
Are you
Yeah.
sure the turtles won't go across the street, go the other way?
Over here?
Yeah.
They have migratory patterns when we talk to NHESP that they're coming in like this direction.
That's where they go. Okay.
Yeah, and we have fencing out here, and they had us put J hooks on the end of the fencing, so if they follow the path of the concrete and hit the fence, they're gonna turn around and come back, and they say that works.
They're amazing how they find their way.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really,
And again, the intent is those two nesting sites, they find
Right
those
here.
first, they don't need
Yeah.
to go any further.
Right.
it's like us
I
across
saw
the
that,
10
yeah.
miles or something.
I guess they'll travel 1.5 miles during breeding season. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
So that's basically it. It's the same design, just with the, the comments that Pat Brennan had made. We've addressed all those. So,
There was one tree that was gonna get cut down. Is that still gonna get cut down? Does it need to be? It's like,
this one here in the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably going,
why?
because this is all gonna be the plant back here. We're showing pavement up to this point, and then this will be the,
That's all we got.
where the recycle plant's gonna be.
It would
I mean,
die
the rest of
anyway.
this-
Probably die anyway.
Yeah.
Well, the rest of this whole area is,
Whether you
trees.
leave it there or not, you're gonna wreck it somehow
Yeah,
by
yeah.
hitting it with something,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, there's thousands of trees out there. I don't think that, that's gonna last.
And then the area to the south where they have the replication area or the replanting, that's
And it-
already pretty disturbed and
Oh, yeah,
pretty,
yeah,
so
there's big
that's gonna
mounds.
be a benefit of,
Yeah, and even this over here where the turtle mounds are, this is all garbage too. This was there was a pavement operation run out of here in the past, and, they've got all sorts of debris and tailings and
Yeah.
concrete, brick, tires. How many tires did you rip out of there?
200.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
wow.
it's already been a benefit.
Hmm.
Mark's been in there cleaning it up already, so.
How long's it been just there? Long time?
1979, the house was built, and the Garners moved right in then, so I would say from 79 until very recently, there was a pavement operation run
Oh,
out,
there was.
run out of here.
They've been
and
doing
back.
that for a while.
Yeah.
If it's garbage there, what makes you think the turtles wanna nest there?
Well, it's not gonna be garbage when we're done, we're restoring all
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just checking.
restoring.
Just checking.
this. Yeah. Yeah. It's all gonna be,
200 tires.
When you, expect to get started on everything, with business?
As soon as I can get the permitting.
chomping at the bit.
Okay, you got anything on that?
nope, everything
That's
else.
good.
All set.
Okay, so I guess I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So move.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
I'll entertain a motion to order a standard order of conditions.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Then I'll entertain a motion to waiver for work in the 50.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
And then motion to issue a general stormwater permit.
Oh, so
I think
moved.
Steve's trying to say something.
Yeah, he said aye.
Oh,
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
aye.
Okay. Looks good.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate your time and your
Got a
help
piece
on
of
this
property,
project
yeah.
from the start.
Thank you.
Nice to get it underway, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's been a long time.
Mhm.
Thank you, folks. Thank you, Tim. Bye, guys.
Good to
Yeah.
meet you.
Okay, the next one is,
Oh, yeah, can we make sure Steve can hear?
Steve, you can hear us, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, just wanted to
Okay.
make sure.
So Steve, I'm kind of waiting to hear if you want to do the second, so I know that you've heard it. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up is 40 United Drive. Notice of intent for a proposed 180,000 warehouse and associated site work.
They have requested a continuance to December 5th meeting.
December 5th.
December 5th, they've got a lot of engineering stuff to straighten out with the changes required.
Yeah, that's fine.
Guys, I'll entertain a motion to continue to December 5th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next one is 44 South Main Street. Proposed redevelopment of a new building.
And at this point, they're asking to go till November 7th. However, I don't have the packet to send out for 53G review yet, and they haven't been issued a DEP file number.
So,
So that one may get continued on further, because until the review starts, there's really nothing new for us to have to deal with.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to continue to November 7th.
so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next one is 59 Charles Street, the enforcement order.
And I can update you on that one. That has been fully restored. The trench drain is in, so sending out the enforcement letter seemed to have worked.
Is he fine? Or just sent out the enforcement order?
I told them that if it wasn't by the end of September done,
He'll
that
be fine.
there'd be a fine. And so,
He did it.
did it.
All right, so
I have a couple of items. I want to pull this up to share the screen. Okay. So I haven't put a revision date because we're gonna have to hold a public hearing and advertise for it if we do decide to revise any of these.
That's in here, right? I think you sent it out, didn't
Yeah.
Yes,
you? Okay.
and this one here is just typo in red here. But the real part of this is the current one requires the filing application for 6 copies.
Could you say what's the number? 6, where are we?
Right, the filing application
6,
requires 6 copies.
Yeah.
I'm recommending we require 2, 1 hard copy and 1 digital.
Great idea.
I mean, most of the time I send everything out for plans and stuff to you guys digitally. And if people want, I can go back and request another one, or we can revisit it. But I think
Save-
getting 6
save a
copies
couple of
dropped
trees.
off
Yeah.
that end up being thrown out. I mean,
yeah, and like you said, if anybody
we
wants
need to
any
keep
more,
one in the file,
And
and
you got
that's
all
it.
that extra space.
Yeah, and you can always get an next one if you need.
Right,
to.
if we actually had to get
Yeah.
an extra one. And again, for the as-built and the certificate of compliance, requiring 2 copies, 1 digital, 1 original. That was my recommendation, changing any place that was asking. And this is the applicability for administrative stormwater permit. That's the one that goes between 5,000 and 15,000 square feet. And my recommendation is that we put less than 15,000 square feet, or, and I'm using 300 feet of a stormwater control system, which would be a catch basin, a drainage ditch, something that, along the road. Or has a slope greater than 20%.
All right, can you go slower for me?
Yep.
And explain?
I'm also gonna explain
Okay,
why I'm recommending these.
thank you.
What's happening is a lot of people are doing site work in their yards, putting in new lawns, putting in new driveways, doing landscaping, and it's right in front of a storm drain. And there's no protection around it, and there's no regulation that requires them to protect the storm drain. And you get the heavy rains we've been having, especially this year, everything flows into those storm drains and they get clogged. Then the town has to go out and clean them out again and service them. Normally, they're good for 5, 6, 7, 8 years to be cleaned out, but more and more of these are happening, and even on the roads, say it's 4 houses up from the storm drain, it all drains down into it.
Yeah.
So, at least putting this in there, we would have administrative authority to go out and require them to put in a silt sock or a barrier, silt fence or sock around it to protect the storm drains.
They
And
they wouldn't have to file for it, or would they? It's only if we went out.
They would be required to file if they're doing work within, and I'm just using 300 feet.
Okay, that was what you mentioned.
Right, and we could decide that we want to do it, I mean, most lots are 150 feet zoning required. Older homes are less, some of them are bigger.
Yeah.
But I figured 300 feet was a rough distance from storm drains that, unless it's a big slope on a road.
Can we do both?
Well,
300 and the 20%?
that's why I said or. And then, so that, the 300 feet would cover any storm drains. Now, if you're doing work on a piece of property and it has a slope greater than 20%, you'd have to file automatically, even if it's not near a storm drain. And that's for some of these, for example, the Vital Ave, which because it's more than 15,000 square feet of disturbance, they'll have to file. But the neighbor could do something in his yard and there's a big slope.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have to file. But yet it would still be creating stormwater runoff.
Are people actually filing? I mean, we say 300 feet, no one, they say, oh, it looks like, looks like.
Well, a lot of them,
You get jobs that are being done with people like under 5,000 square feet.
they don't have to
They don't
file
have to
right
come and
now
File for us,
at all.
but they do two different, jobs at a time, or within a year's time, under 5,000, and here they go, they got this whole 15,000 square.
Part of it's to deal with the segmenting stuff that's
Oh.
happening, but a lot of it is more that a lot of things are happening right on town roads and storm drains that they don't have to file for. And even if we don't catch them right away, when we go out or we get a phone call, we can go out and then tell them, well, you were supposed to file. You didn't, but it's under our jurisdiction to control this, and now you need to fix the problem.
So is it mostly for new construction?
Well, we'll give you an example of one up on Scotland Street there, that
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
The guy that came in here that time and put all that
Fill in.
fill in for the driveway, made it wider.
He created more than 20, he was filling a grade more than 20%.
Then he said he wasn't doing anything else. Over a period of time, he put an addition on one side.
Oh, the electrician?
Yep,
Right.
then the garage on,
Right,
and then on the back.
yeah,
But he did it within a period of time, it was all under 5,000 square feet, he didn't have to file.
right,
And now he's got huge, more runoff
yes.
with more of a
Bigger grades.
bigger grade and everything like that, that's
Yeah.
causing an issue. And we
So-
can't do anything about it.
So we're talking like filling things, putting in driveways, putting in,
He kinda-
I mean, the
Anything
other thing
with
we're
the-
finding is like, some of these people are putting driveways in and all the runoff is coming into the road.
Yeah.
And if it's a grade more than 20%,
It's like a,
that's a
Yeah.
lot, and those are the ones we're seeing happen that we need to capture so that the town isn't accepting runoff that's
I'm
not our
trying to picture,
responsibility.
like, why I would change my lawn, you probably wouldn't, but driveways, that's,
Driveways.
yeah.
Well, if you were to go and reseed your lawn,
Right.
tear it all up and
Yeah.
reseed it, and you're within 300 feet of a catch basin,
It's all dirt.
and it's a slope, you're gonna have to file so that we know that you're not having all that runoff into the road if there's a heavy rain.
Now, let's say they come in and file. we're gonna want socks or,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
They'll have to
The
do what they're
normal,
supposed to do.
yeah.
Yeah, you just, I mean, it's the minimal amount to protect the runoff so that it's not going into the street or into a neighbor's property.
Sure, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
That's
Or
kind
cause
of-
issues down the road.
Right, I mean, we have a couple permits that came through the building department for garages or sheds.
Yeah.
One of them's an 18 by 32 shed.
Yeah.
That's a big shed.
Big shed,
Yeah.
huh?
But it's sitting up higher on a piece of property that's a corner lot, and it has a grade of like 35% slope.
Yeah.
To get the cement mixers, construction equipment, everything up and into it.
Yeah.
They don't have to file before us, but they're gonna have a construction entrance to get up there.
Yeah.
And where's all that rainwater gonna go when the construction entrance drains onto the road and there's two catch basins at the corner of the lot?
Right.
Right now, there's no oversight, there's
Just
nothing.
makes us, I don't know how the public will be aware, but.
Well, I mean, if there's something out there being done, at least they're not, someone going
Yeah,
by,
yeah,
all the dirt's going down there, but if they
That's
see
right.
something around.
I mean,
it-
something like a shed like this one this big, an engineer's gonna be involved, there's a building
That's
permit
true.
pulled.
Yeah.
So there'd be oversight, so I'd be notified and I can reply to the building inspector, they will
Yeah.
need to file an administrative stormwater permit.
But you never know. I mean, look at that house there.
It's,
Put a big garage on and all they did was get a building permit, but nothing else was done,
right,
so.
but
So-
if the work's being done and you're digging a foundation or pouring a footing or whatever, and it's within 300 feet of catch basin, then
Ah.
administratively,
Yeah.
you'd be needing to make sure that site's protected.
That makes
So-
sense.
That was the
That's
intent
fine.
of why I was looking to change.
That's fine.
And I use 300 is a rough number. I mean, something before we go and publish that we're gonna hold a meeting to change these. If you guys wanna think about the distance and what 300 or 250, 500, I mean, it,
Want to give ourselves the best advantage.
right, I didn't wanna make it so cumbersome that people aren't gonna say, I'm not gonna do this just because it's 500 feet. I don't wanna.
Yeah.
But I figured 300 was an average that
100 yards.
250, 200.
Hmm?
200, 250.
I just figured knowing
It
that
should be a little.
average frontage is 150 feet.
Oh, yeah,
It would
that's
be
true,
two
yeah.
house lots
True, so it'd be,
Either
so it
way-
won't catch either way.
kind of direction.
Yeah, that's true, yeah, that's good.
So
We
300.
just gave it a,
300, yeah, that's a good one. I
Okay.
think, how about you, Carol?
kind of see how that,
I'm thinking about when you get the building permit, okay, they don't have to notify us that it's happening?
no.
So I think that, how can we make it
Well,
so we
what-
can find out?
What right now is the town's in the process of going with a digital permitting system online. And once that fully is functional, then there will be sign-offs by different departments before they get released. Right now, thankfully, Mike, the building commissioner, sends anything questionable, like if it's a swimming pool, a deck, a patio, or new construction, a copy to the conservation office to have me look at it beforehand for site review. And if it looks like there's issues on it, I fill out a form and send it back saying they may need to file, please have them contact.
Yeah, yeah.
And if not, and there's no wetlands near it, they're not putting it anywhere near jurisdiction, I just initial it off and say conservation has no issues, no file.
Okay.
And it moves on.
So for the most part, you get to see,
Right, most of them I get to catch
and that's
beforehand.
good enough?
And we haven't missed many of them, but it's like I'm finding the ones that are on big slopes or have catch basins near them that don't fall under the stormwater bylaw.
I mean, it's
They aren't a
not big
wetland.
deal for them to put a sock
We-
around there.
Right now have no jurisdiction to ask for anything.
It's not that big of a deal though.
And so it's trying to
Right,
catch.
I understand that, but in terms of
Yeah.
finding out,
But finding
I
out,
don't think I
no,
would do
it's,
anything
it's a
without
courtesy
checking.
kind of
We can't
thing that
tell
Mike
them
does,
quick without
which
Oh, yeah.
is good.
Oh,
And so I get sign off on most.
Okay. So will you talk to Mike about the the slope thing too? That we're concerned
No,
about?
He won't have anything.
He won't have anything to really do with that, but it's just, it gives us one more layer of protection that we can request them. If it comes in and I look at topographical maps for the site and find out that it's sitting on a large hill, then
Okay. Okay,
Sound good.
so that was the only Yep, the only items on that. Now, I do have one other item to share. And that is a violation that happened today.
We didn't like this one.
Oh, okay.
So, background on this piece of property,
This is crazy.
it is 363 South Elm Street. And it was Alexander,
That's down by, you know where Alexander's is? House up on the hill,
it's on the corner of Lincoln
on
Street,
the corner of Lincoln Street, just, you
In
know where
South
the
Elm.
old house?
Okay.
down near where Lamp Post Estates is,
Right,
in that
which
area.
side, though, in that area?
It's on that side, but it's going up towards,
Scotland?
nope, it's going up the hill, and it's those houses, those new houses,
Okay.
that are right there.
And the commission permitted them in 2000, so it's only been about 3 years since the houses went in.
Yeah.
The subdivision that was done, the footprint for the one in question is this. And that was the area that was allowed to be developed.
That's not lamppost.
No, this is the one, 363 South Elm Street.
Before that,
Where's
The-
the road? Where's South Elm?
This,
Show me South Elm.
this is South Elm Street right here, along
Okay.
the front.
Oh, okay, all right.
And this is their driveway,
Yeah.
and the house is right in here.
Okay.
Now, this piece of property. Let me close this out so we can see what it is. Had
and I saw this
easements on it.
coming home tonight with the trailer and the excavator on it.
Which is this one. Hold on a second, let me bring this back up. Okay. Okay. So this piece of property, this area here, there's a recorded conservation easement at the registry of deeds on it. So this dotted line that's right here is basically the 50-foot no-touch wetland line on the property, which has a recorded. So I'm gonna show you a bunch of pictures that John took. And this is all,
Yeah, that's not-
so this is the corner of the driveway,
Uh-huh.
and this is a wetland marker. So the wetland mark is here. This right here is literally the 50-foot no-touch. And so he had built the house, and you see there's these trees. John had gone out and talked with the homeowner and said, yes, they're dead, they're dangerous, you can go ahead and take them down. And this would have predated our tree cutting requirement. Again, these are some of the trees that John and the homeowner had discussed taking down. So again, this is what the driveway had looked like. And so today, I drove by going for another site inspection somewhere else, and this is what I found.
So that front end, what is it,
That's
a
gonna,
bucket,
So there was an excavator on the side of the driveway,
is right in the 50.
you filled that all in,
and this
'Cause
is the end of the driveway
is the 50.
where the 50-foot
Yeah.
markers were.
Yeah.
And now these trees have all been cleared and cut, and this has all been filled.
The trees clearing was okay, or just some?
No,
Ooh,
It- there was no permit or anything to clear cut this whole side of the property, which is in the 50-foot,
Yeah,
in an easement,
yeah.
and there were markers there.
Ooh,
And the homeowner knew that the markers were there. They were there up until 2 days ago.
And I saw the excavator on the trailer coming home tonight, and the guy was backing up to the trailer or going to the truck. And I was rushed to get home, but I didn't see where it was coming from, and that's where it was, so.
Whose excavator is it, you know?
No.
I'm not sure who did the site work.
Yeah.
There was nobody there, an operator, when I stopped. I talked to the homeowner at the end of the day, met with him. I said, you're gonna need to hire an engineer. You're gonna have to file a notice of intent to fix what you've done. I said, if you wanna try to file and ask the commission, because what his concern is, backing out of his garage, he doesn't have enough radius supposedly to turn.
Now, remember, the
That's
house
the way
is,
it goes.
the house has been there for 3 years.
And I said, talk to an engineer, figure out what you have and where you can do anything, or if you can do anything. But I said, this is a lot that was just built 3 years ago. It's not an old lot that's not conforming to town bylaw or the Wetland Protection Act.
I mean, we had it pretty well.
You could have fixed this in the beginning before the house was
Right.
built.
I mean, the builder knew what the limitations were when he built the house.
Yep.
And this is the
And
first
the buyer-
homeowner,
and
so
the
the buyer
buyer.
knew what he was getting into when he bought the house.
Sure.
So,
So the enforcement order, if it comes to that, he's gotta dig it up.
right, so at this
It is
point, it's a
pretty-
cease and desist, and I said, get your engineer, have him give me a call, and figure out what we end up doing.
So he knows he can't.
He can't do anything more, and he can't touch anything.
Did he seem like, I didn't know, or?
I think he kind of knew what he was
Well, the
getting into.
markers were there.
Right, the markers were there. I mean, I don't know where they went, but they're either buried or pulled up and gone.
Yeah.
But it was definitely an identified wetland area that
I
was.
know what my opinion is. What is your opinion about doing something with this? What do you think should be done?
The cease and desist,
Mm-hmm.
and then he needs to, I guess it's an engineer. I like what you're
Yeah.
saying, totally.
I mean, I'm
It's
figuring at this,
unfortunate we don't have a fine system in place for doing that.
What do you think what do you think he should do after he gets the engineer and all that stuff? To what he did right here?
You know, I'd like to talk about the damage that he did.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that means for the wetland, to see what we need to, it needs to be restored.
Okay, so that's what your thought is. My thought is, hire the engineer, like I said, my thought is to dig it all out, replace it, and put it back to the way it was.
That's right.
You knew what it was in the beginning, leave the driveway's not dug up, you can replicate what was supposed to be there, put everything back in and leave it the way it is.
That's right.
That's all on him, not us,
That's right.
so.
Why would it be on us?
Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you go, you guys are making me do this and all that, it's like, no, it's not on, this is something that
That's the way it
you
is.
stumbled upon, just driving down, and he took action on this.
You'd have trouble proving intent, I suppose, but if the markers were there,
You got
there's
proof
your,
right there.
there's your intent.
I mean, the markers
Yeah,
were there literally,
but we don't have a
This past
fine
week.
system in place.
well,
for purposely violating, do we?
I've given him a notice of violation. That's the first one. The second one, you can start the fine.
Mm-hmm.
So
Did
if
we
he
give
was
a-
to not take any action within
Do we
amount,
have a time frame?
I generally use 30 days.
Okay.
Because it takes a while to hire an engineer, get a
Yeah.
contract, do that. If I don't hear anything or have anything within 30 days, then I would probably be inclined to send out the second notice with a $150 a day fine. Give them another 30 days, and after 30 days of that, then it's the $300 a day fine ongoing permanently until it's restored and
But you
fixed.
talked to him, so.
I have talked to him. He does know that what he did was wrong and that it needs a filing, and I said, anything within 100 feet of a wetland has to come before us. I said, even if it's just for determination,
That's right.
we still within the jurisdiction of the Wetland Protection Act and the town bylaw.
People don't put two and two
And I don't
together.
think we should, ease up on this too. We should
Oh, no.
stick to it and push right to it.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
We go to all this, you know, we put in the markers and
Yep.
talk to the builders and. you
Yeah, I
know.
mean, in this one, when, as far as we have an easement protecting that area
Mhm.
to begin with.
I'm surprised, well, at least
And I
you
mean, it-
didn't pave it, that would have to come up
Well,
too.
it's a good.
That was the
thing to
next
try.
thing.
That's the
I
next
mean,
thing, yeah.
Had I waited another week, that might have
That's right.
gotten into that.
I think I liked, there were pictures that we had to look at. The
Oh,
before.
you've got them all.
Well,
Yeah.
well, thankfully, John was good
Well,
about taking
I
as
think
many
that's
as he
very
could.
helpful
So
in
I-
terms of, you know,
Before
what
and
was
after,
there,
yeah.
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's helpful to me.
So the engineer would have to provide a replication plan.
Right, there'd have to be a replication plan and
But even if
mitigation
he
to get
said
it.
this is the way it was, this has been like this for a while. You
No,
can clearly see it's new fill, and it's recently been disturbed with a
sure.
Pushing the-
Right, and I mean,
Clear
in John's
cut it
pictures,
all
there
the
was
way
a
down.
retaining
Yes.
wall or a cement,
Oh, that's right, there was that wall there, right, yeah.
right, so that,
So he just kinda like made it so it's nice and easy. And then, it went on top of that, all the water would be going down there anyways, and.
Right.
So
so,
he said he had trouble backing out of his garage, huh?
yes, that was,
I mean, it's
Yeah.
a pretty good swing there.
It is, but if the driveway goes like this, so you have to back out like that,
Right, right.
so that's the thing right there. And I guess Don went down in the embankment. So
Oh,
that's what he
wow.
decided to. But like even Tim said, even if he wanted to come in front of us and say, hey,
I
do you
wanna
mind if I just put a little bit of
turnaround,
a,
yeah.
little bit of an addition onto the thing right there?
We might
but not
have
the
walked
whole
up and
thing.
down. Might have walked
and so this is the as-built plan that the engineer submitted.
Oh, yeah.
And you can
I
see,
see it.
the garage is here.
Yeah.
And there were 3 protected wetland markers, 1, 2, 3, that were literally
On
Right
the
in-
line, right on the driveway.
right on the edge of the driveway at this end. I mean, I will admit, this end of the driveway, the markers were here and here, so he did have a little bit of wiggle room before he hit the 50-foot. But there's definitely trees that have been cleared and Phil brought in along there. I couldn't tell exactly because the markers weren't there.
I mean, did it look like he did it or he hired a contractor? You would think the contractor might have some questions too,
Right, but I mean, any contractor should have seen the markers before they started work
unless they
and
were
said,
gone.
right. And so I don't know whether he hired, it didn't look like a rental piece of equipment, it didn't have one of those rental logo kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
things on it,
yeah,
so
yeah.
whether he borrowed it from a
People
friend.
just, I think they just do it. They don't.
And I mean, I will say that the swale that's there and the drainage pipe, they are there, they are exposed, they are functioning. So those didn't get damaged in
Were
this
those
process.
in the front?
Right along the edge of the
Right
road,
All
at the
right,
edge
yeah.
of the driveway.
Yeah.
The pipe is there and the swale is there, but the driveway's here and he did literally, this
Did he
fill
take that
right
out?
up to the edge of that pipe. So he went right up to that 50-foot.
Yeah.
Which, again, that would have been an RDA for
Mhm.
you commissioners to make a decision whether it's a jurisdictional and if he needed to file an NOI or whether it was just a,
Well, I guess you keep us posted. Right?
I'll keep you posted where we're going with it, but that's,
And I'll look at it as I go by during the day.
right, to see the progress.
It seems to me that what we deal here with is people's ideas that it's their property, they can do what they want.
To a point.
Well,
Yep.
but I think people have, and then also, if there's not that much knowledge or interest in wetlands, so, okay.
What harm
Yeah,
is
yeah,
Why
what
we
harm does
put
it
the
do?
Markers.
I know,
Just
I
so-
know, what I'm saying is, I'm talking about regular people.
Not really.
So there's a lot of education, I think, that needs to go on.
Well, from what I think I don't know what he does, I think he's an electrician for a living or something like that, or he does something. So, as you're speaking about just regular people, if somebody being in a profession like that, I think he's in that area or
It's
something
some
like that.
type of building trade
So
related field.
I think he has the knowledge upstairs about permits and what he should and shouldn't do, and
Yeah.
from what I saw, the truck and the trailer and everything, it wasn't something like Hertz rental. This was a legit business that
Was doing the work.
sure he knew or he got a hold of, so I think he had the knowledge of knowing what he should and so.
I was wondering, are some towns, like, I don't know, 3 years ago, this person moved in from somewhere else. I'm wondering if like other towns aren't as good as we are in terms of protecting, like maybe where he came from, didn't
Sure.
matter.
Yeah.
As much. People come with their
That's a good question. I
Thinking-
don't know.
I don't know either, I'm just,
Well, when
I'm
people come
saying,
from the city, it's like they move
Right,
in and like,
right,
I have
yeah.
no clue. I
I
mean,
mean, we've
Yeah.
you
talked
can
about
understand
it.
them, not know them,
right.
but you
Yeah.
try to keep.
So I like
And
the way that you talk with him, I'm sure that you're,
Right, I mean, I tried to explain, I said, I would have rather had you call me before you did any of this.
Yeah.
And at least had a conversation, so
Oh, sure.
right.
you knew
Yeah.
what you could do or couldn't do, or what the process would be.
Right, right.
I don't think I'd move if I had property of my own like that. I wouldn't make a move till I came down and talked to someone.
Especially where there was a marker there.
Yeah, exactly.
About anything,
Yeah.
because you don't know, you never know, yeah.
I will admit, I had my first real estate agent come in today with a piece of property that she's representing the buyers and asked whether there were wetlands on the property
Good
and
idea.
what was
Oh,
there.
that's good.
Wow.
And it
Yeah.
had a septic repair that was done in 2007.
Uh-huh.
So I did have a plan in a file, and so she took a picture of the plan so she could take it back to the potential buyers so that they knew there were wetlands on it and a stream on it and
Yes,
what area they could actually use.
thinking.
So I told her, I said, I give you credit,
Yeah,
because
that's
there's not a lot of
Smart on that.
you that do this.
Just sell it.
And I told her, I said, it's their land, they own it.
Yeah.
But I said, there's certain things they can and can't do within the wetland. I said, they can go out there and walk in it, they can collect firewood, they
Yeah.
can make a trail,
You can even clean it up, you know.
right, they
keep
can
everything clean.
plant blueberry bushes and wetland plants if they want to, they can enhance it, they can make
In
it
the
better for
wetlands.
wildlife, put up birdhouses.
Yeah.
I said, you can't put a swimming
I
pool
thought
or a
you
shed
couldn't
or,
disturb it in any way.
Well, you can't do it by machine or anything like that. You can go in and clean it out by hand. But
Right.
down on
Right.
A1.
We had the wetlands behind, on the other side of Captain Carlson, we had a neighbor that went in and cleaned it out, and they made him stop. He was clearing out dead branches and all of that stuff.
they're doing it by hand and they're making a trail or keeping it then,
It's kind of like going out in the
Well,
woods
that's
and
good to know.
cutting up dead
yeah,
wood.
no,
Good
you
to
can,
know.
Yeah.
So you.
and they actually also allow vista pruning and vista clearing. So if you had a view you wanted to keep
So you
clean.
could actually go in and clean out shrubs sticks and.
Right, down branches and stuff like that, especially if you're trying to make a trail system or invasive
That's
plant
been
management.
around our property, has
is
been a bone
permitted.
of contention. Can you go into those wetlands?
Now you got the answer.
Yeah.
You can tell 'em.
Just no machinery.
Right, right. It's
Well, you
gotta
can't
be
go
all
in there, you
hand
can't go
equipment.
in with a weed whacker.
Right, you can't take a
Just that.
chainsaw in and start cutting down.
No
Well,
equipment,
Well, your weed whackers, you can get some weed whackers that cut down,
yes.
you know, you
right.
can't do that, but.
No.
Yeah, the
chainsaw-
brush cutting
But
blades.
loose sticks and
Yeah.
all that, you could
Thorns
clear
and all
out.
that crap.
But if you're using hand pruners and hand saws and picking up dead
That's good to
branches and
know.
dead wood
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
already on the ground.
Right. Okay,
Sounds like.
if that comes up again, I'll mention it, so.
You know, then do that somewhere.
Hmm?
You're gonna go out there and play around in the woods.
I'm not gonna do it.
But again, I'd rather have residents call and ask a question
Yeah,
than get into trouble afterwards.
right.
So before I adjourn, the review of the possible changes on the stormwater, should I motion that to hold?
Well, I was just,
Public hearing or no?
do you want to, I can put it and advertise for the changes for this November 7th. If you're okay with that, or if you want to think about it a little while, we can advertise it later.
I'm fine.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay.
Seven.
So how do we advertise?
I just have to advertise, just like we do for any public hearing, that there's gonna be a public hearing to change the stormwater regulations. And copies can be seen at the conservation office. And then I'll post them online onto the website and everything as well. But anybody that has questions can either come in or zoom in and see what we're talking about, and we can ratify them at that point.
Do you want me to motion to post a public hearing? I'll entertain a motion to post a public hearing.
So moved.
All in favor?
I,
Okay. And now, is there anything you want to, well, this is what I said, something, up on Lincoln Street? No, Pleasant Street.
Oh, I'm just, the,
I was coming.
the Alessandro
Yeah.
site that is gone through a number of different owners and configurations, but they're starting to do the work along the edge of the road. So if you're going down Pleasant Street at the end of South Elm Street, kind of right on that corner, it looks like they're filling in quite a bit of fill right on the edge of the road. The plans did call for about an 8-foot elevation change between the road and their final grade. So it looks like there's a lot of ramping.
What are they doing?
By the underpass?
No, it was, well, before that, yeah, before you get to that turn. So I'm like. so
And I
it
mean, the
says on
driveway
plan-
from the road point, it goes up about 8 feet from the driveway
Plan
up.
is what, homes?
No.
No.
No,
It's,
there's no homes in that. That's all, that's
A
industrial.
contractor,
Contractor's yard. And that's industrial zoned.
right. So I'm waiting to get notification for their stormwater system to start getting to put in.
Anything on the other, behind that White House, with that supposedly business that's not supposed to be there?
That's stopped,
It has stopped.
supposedly. So we'll see what happens.
It's because you said something, or?
Well, that was the one that came in with a pool they were looking to put in.
Yeah.
When they stopped the pool, that's when they found out that they weren't zoned for what they were
Okay.
trying to do, so.
So no, nothing on the pool?
Yeah.
Okay. so
The
everything
pool's
is
not
stopped,
going
okay.
in.
But is the business still going?
We do not believe it is.
Okay.
Did you have a chance to look up on 106, all the rental trucks in the woods? Remember I casually mentioned it to you.
Is that before the railroad tracks?
Before
Oh,
the
yes,
railroad
they were
track, on the
backed up and
trucks
in-
are back in
yeah,
the woods there.
I think they were clearing them out. They have a few of them cleared out.
Yeah, they were starting to pull them out. The reason you see them more is because they cleared around them to get to them.
Yeah,
They've
oh,
been-
to get to,
Yeah, they've been backed in there for a while,
oh, okay,
so.
and they're way back in the
Yeah.
woods there.
Okay, anything else?
Nope.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Steve.
Good night,
Thank you,
Steve.
Steve.
Thank you, Ben.
Take care, guys.
Good to see you.
Have a good night.